Today, with this particular legislation, we're going to be experimenting with a new form of community engagement in the legislative process. And this is one that has been tested out at different levels of government, other local governments. There's some federal implementation of this tool. And it's essentially a new way for people to be heard and to be engaged in the process of making laws or policies in our county. This builds on, technology and its role in government is always changing, and we've had notable steps forward in the use of technology over the years. I understand that there are not more than one a person on the 5th floor who was here when voicemail was introduced, and that engendered some controversy at the time. Some said that we would be overwhelmed with, messages from our constituents. Email, was introduced, and I think everyone would agree that has been an incredibly efficient way for us to hear from our constituents at any time. More recently, we have social media. Most of us or all of us manage Facebook pages or Twitter accounts, and that is an ongoing experiment in hearing from constituents. This is most closely analogous to Facebook and Twitter in that it's essentially a social media tool, but rather than having comments that are sort of just lodged into Facebook or Twitter, this is creating a particular forum where people can come in, they can comment on legislation, and then they can understand a response from either the council office or the council analyst. As my colleagues know, we have a tradition of responding to substantial comments on legislation and master plans and any issues. So most of the time, those are heard through public hearings. But also, if someone doesn't get to a public hearing and they send us a thoughtful email, you'll see that show up in a council packet, with some discussion about that by the analyst. So this will give us the opportunity to hear comments as well through this portal. And I wanted to state again, Councilmember Navarro and I are piloting this tool. It's one that is available to each of you. You may choose to use it in legislation that you have forthcoming. To set expectations, I thought this would be useful to engage students. We've got this project that came to us from students. It's hard for students to get in to testify, but perhaps we could get 5 or 10 to be aware of the legislation and build on the work that these other students have done. So it's targeted, at least in this kind of rollout to a particular community. I think this kind of effort could be useful in targeted outreach. So Ken Silverman on my team has been working this together, and if you could kind of help us walk through the demo. So right now we're looking at the landing page of this project called Madison, and we have an implementation of Madison at the county council website. Our council IT team, with Sonia Healy as the leader, leading this initiative, has taken the legislation and created a page. A person will come into the page and they'll see the law. This is the recommended law from the students that we received, and Councilmember Navarro and I and Ms. Florian have introduced, and many of you have signed on as co-sponsors. A person could, so they see the major provisions. I suppose the underline text is the text that is a change in the law. If you see on the right side, it says how to participate. So there's a short video demonstration that's a standard one that the tool uses throughout all its iterations. You can sign up, you can add your voice, then you can annotate and comment. Now, as a council staff, your council office may choose to respond in real time to comments. You may want to respond substantively, or you may say that's an interesting comment. We'll take that under consideration. I mean, there's various different ways that you may, or that we'll find to, interact with people. I think many of us feel that when we rely on those who are able to come to Rockville and submit written public testimony, that we don't always hear the full breadth of the community. And our hope is that by using this tool, we will have yet another way to hear from more of our residents. It doesn't mean that we will stop doing our public hearings. And I want to state for myself, that was the key thing. Like, it was the light bulb for me. Oh, this doesn't take away from anything we're doing now, because everything we're doing now I think is essential, but it adds to the tool, so we can now use the web in a new way to supplement what we're doing rather than replacing anything that we're doing. So, you know, when I realized that that was the case, that we weren't replacing anything, we were just supplementing, I became comfortable enough to say I'd like to try this out.